My hands wouldn't stop shaking. The bathroom stall felt like a coffin. Gold fixtures, marble floors. A restaurant so expensive they didn't print prices on the menu. And I was hiding like a trapped animal because the man waiting at my table had already booked a hotel room, already slipped something into my champagne when he thought I wasn't looking, already told me exactly what he expected in return for this dinner I never asked for. I grabbed my phone, typed a desperate message to my sister. "I'm on a wrong date. This guy is a creep. He put something in my drink. Please help me. Please." Hit send. Then my blood turned to ice. Wrong number. I'd sent my cry for help to a complete stranger. 3 dots appeared, the reply that came back. "What restaurant?" "I'm coming to get you." I didn't know it yet, but I'd just accidentally texted the most dangerous man in Seoul, and he was already on his way. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. The bathroom stall felt like a coffin. Gold fixtures gleamed under soft lighting. Marble floors reflected her terrified face back at her. A restaurant so expensive they didn't print prices on the menu. And Simone Achebe was hiding like a trapped animal because the man waiting at her table had already booked a hotel room, already slipped something into her champagne when he thought she wasn't looking, already told her exactly what he expected in return for this dinner she never asked for. She grabbed her phone, typed a desperate message to her sister. "I'm on a wrong date. This guy's a creep. He put something in my drink. Please help me. Please." Hit send. Then her blood turned to ice. Wrong number. She'd sent her cry for help to a complete stranger. 3 dots appeared. The reply that came back made her forget how to breathe. "What restaurant? I'm coming to get you." She didn't know it yet, but she'd just accidentally texted the most dangerous man in Seoul, and he was already on his way. "Hi, viewers. Kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is." Simone stared at the screen, read the message again. Her brain refused to process what her eyes were seeing. A stranger. A complete stranger was offering to rescue her from a situation she'd accidentally broadcast into the void. This could be worse. This could be a different kind of trap. She'd seen enough true crime documentaries to know this was exactly how people ended up in basements. Her thumbs moved before her mind could stop them. "I'm serious. This was a mistake. Wrong number. I'm fine." The response came immediately. "You said he drugged your drink. You said you're scared. That's not fine. Tell me where you are. I'll be there in 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Something about the messages made her pause. Their directness, their lack of hesitation, their complete absence of questions like, "What do you look like?" or "Send me a picture." Just action. Just certainty. Outside this stall, Malcolm Pritchard III was waiting. His hand would find her thigh again the moment she sat down. His eyes would track her champagne glass with that predatory patience. His suite at the Shilla was already booked. Inside this stall, a stranger was offering her a lifeline. Some choices aren't really choices at all. Lumiere. The restaurant is called Lumiere, Gangnam District. Scent. I know it. 15 minutes. Go back to your table. Act normal. When I arrive, I'll handle him. Then another message. "What are you wearing, so I can find you?" "Black dress, silver earrings. I'm black. American. Stay calm. I'm coming." Simone's reflection stared back at her from the bathroom mirror. Terrified eyes, trembling lips. A woman who had come to Seoul for a fresh start and found herself trapped in a nightmare wearing designer lighting. 14 minutes now, maybe 13. She smoothed her dress, fixed her expression into something that didn't scream, "I'm about to either be saved or murdered by a stranger from my text messages," and walked back to the table. Malcolm's smile had too many teeth. "Thought you'd fallen in," he said. Laughed at his own joke. "I ordered us champagne, Dom Perignon. Only the best for my girl." His girl. They'd known each other for 45 minutes. "Thank you." The words tasted like ash. "That's very generous." "I'm a generous man." His hand found her knee under the table. Squeezed, his fingers pressed into her flesh with proprietary confidence. "I believe in reciprocity. You know what I mean? She knew exactly what he meant. The champagne arrived. Malcolm made a show of tasting it, approving it, watching her glass being filled with an intensity that made her stomach turn. Drink up. His voice dropped lower, intimate. The night's just getting started. Simone lifted the glass to her lips. Didn't drink, set it down. 12 minutes. Malcolm was describing his yacht now. 42 feet. Sleep 6. Kept docked in Busan for weekend getaways. Very intimate, he kept saying. Very private. His hand had migrated from her knee to her thigh. Higher now, pressing harder. 10 minutes. We could take a trip next weekend. Just the two of us. His breath was hot against her ear. Whiskey and entitlement. I know you want to. 8 minutes. You're quiet. His eyes narrowed, the charming mask slipping. You were chattier in your messages. Don't tell me you're one of those women who... He never finished the sentence. The front door of Lumiere opened. Simone felt it before she saw it. A shift in the restaurant's atmosphere. Like barometric pressure before a storm. Like the moment before lightning strikes, and the air itself holds its breath. Conversations faltered mid-sentence. Silverware paused mid-motion. The sommelier, who had been approaching a nearby table with a bottle worth more than most people's rent, stopped dead and changed direction. She turned to look and forgot how to breathe. He was tall, well over 6 feet. Black suit, black shirt, no tie. The kind of deliberate casualness that cost more than most people's cars. His hair was dark, swept back from a face that belonged on ancient warriors, not modern men. Sharp jaw, sharper eyes. A scar traced from his left eyebrow into his hairline. Thin and white, like lightning frozen in flesh. But it wasn't his appearance that stopped the room. It was his presence. He moved through Lumiere like he owned it. Like he owned everything. Like the concept of ownership itself was something he'd invented and graciously allowed others to borrow. 2 men flanked him. Massive. Stone-faced. Radiating the particular stillness of violence held in reserve. The hostess didn't approach him. The maitre d' materialized from nowhere, bowing, speaking rapidly in Korean that Simone couldn't follow. The man in black ignored him completely. His eyes swept the restaurant. Systematic, predatory. Found Simone. Locked. The world narrowed to a single point of contact. His gaze on hers. Dark eyes that held secrets and danger and something else she couldn't name. Recognition. Not of her face. They'd never met. Recognition of what she was. Who she was in this moment. Someone who needed saving. Malcolm saw him coming. His face cycled through confusion, recognition, and terror in the span of 2 seconds. His hand jerked away from Simone's leg like her skin had burned him. He started to stand. Thought better of it. Stood anyway. Sat back down. Mr. Kang. His voice cracked on the name. I didn't know you. This is... The man in black reached their table. Stopped. His eyes hadn't left Simone's face. When he spoke, his voice was terrifyingly calm. Pleasant, even. The voice of a man discussing weather, not issuing commands. You're in my seat. Malcolm blinked. I'm sorry? That seat. A slight nod toward Malcolm's chair. It's mine. Move. But we. Malcolm looked at Simone, then back at the stranger. His alcohol-flushed face had gone pale as bone. Do you two know each other? She's with me. 2 words, absolute certainty. She's been waiting for me to arrive. I apologize for my delay. He turned to Simone. His expression softened almost imperceptibly. Traffic was terrible, Jagia. Forgive me, Jagia. Darling. A term of endearment that implied intimacy, history. Claim. Simone's heart was pounding so hard she could hear it. but she understood what was happening, what he was offering. An escape. Of course. Her voice came out steadier than she expected. I was just keeping your friend company. My friend? The man's attention returned to Malcolm. The temperature around the table dropped 10 degrees. Is that what you are, Mr. Pritchard? My friend. Malcolm's mouth opened, closed, opened again. I didn't. I had no idea she was. We met on an app. An app. The smile didn't reach his eyes. And on this app, did she mention she was mine? No, she didn't, I swear. Then you're not a friend. The man leaned down, braced one hand on the table, brought his face close to Malcolm's. You're just a man who touched something precious without permission. Do you know what I do to men like that? Malcolm whimpered. Actually whimpered. A grown man in a $4,000 suit making sounds like a frightened child. Please, I didn't know. I'll leave. You'll pay for dinner. You'll apologize to the lady, and you'll never use dating apps again. The stranger straightened. If I hear you've touched another woman who didn't want you, I'll hear about it. And I'll remember this conversation. Do you understand? Yes. Yes, absolutely. I understand. I'm so sorry. Malcolm threw cash on the table, far more than the bill required, and fled. The entire restaurant remained frozen, watching, waiting. The stranger turned to Simone, extended his hand. I believe, he said, you needed rescuing. She looked at his hand. Large, calloused, a thin scar across the knuckles. She looked at his face. The scar, the intensity, the danger written in every line. She looked at the door Malcolm had just fled through. Safety, escape, the normal world she understood. Then she looked back at the man who had answered a wrong number with 15 minutes and a promise. She took his hand. His palm was warm, steady. His fingers closed around hers with surprising gentleness. Thank you, she whispered. Don't thank me yet. He guided her toward the exit. His security team fell into formation around them like shadows made solid. The night is young. Outside, a black Mercedes waited at the curb. Inside, Simone's life was about to change forever. And she had no idea. She just sent her location to a stranger. Smart move or fatal mistake. If you're not subscribed, you might never find out what happens next. The car door closed behind her. Silence. Leather seats, tinted windows. The scent of something expensive and masculine. The privacy partition separated them from the driver, creating an intimacy that felt both dangerous and safe. Simone turned to the stranger. You came. Her voice sounded strange to her own ears. You actually came. You asked for help. He said it simply, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. I was available. You don't know me. No. I could have been anyone. It could have been a scam, a setup. It could have been. He was watching her with those dark eyes, expression unreadable. Was it? No, it was a wrong number, she laughed, a slightly hysterical sound. I was trying to text my sister. I got the digits wrong. I know. You still came. Yes. Why? The silence stretched. Outside the car, Seoul glittered like a circuit board. Millions of lights burning against the dark. Inside, two strangers sat inches apart, breathing the same air, carrying different worlds. 9 years ago, he finally said, my sister sent a message very similar to yours. She was in danger. She needed help. He paused. I was 16 minutes too late. The words hit Simone like a physical blow. I'm sorry. She survived, physically. His jaw tightened, but she's never been the same. Simone didn't know what to say, didn't know if there were words for this. When I saw your message, he continued, a stranger's fear, arriving by accident, I thought, what if this is the chance I never got? What if this time I can be on time. So you came. I came. They sat in silence. Then Simone did something that surprised them both. She laughed. Not from fear, not from hysteria, but from the sheer, absurd, beautiful improbability of it all. I texted a wrong number, she said, and a mafia boss showed up to save me. Alleged mafia boss, but he was almost smiling. The prosecutors have never made anything stick. That's supposed to be reassuring? Is it working? Surprisingly, yes. The smile reached his eyes this time. It transformed him. The scar, the severity, the weight of command, all of it softened into something human, something almost young. I'm Kang Dae-jung, he said, since we're apparently doing introductions. Simone Achebe. I know, she blinked. How? He held up his phone. Her social media profile was open on the screen. I'm thorough. That's terrifying. You texted a stranger your location in a city of 10 million people. I don't think you get to lecture me about terrifying. Fair point. Where can I take you? He asked. Home. A friend's house? Somewhere you feel safe? Simone considered. She should go home. She should put this insane night behind her. Change her phone number. Never think about Kang Dae-jung again. Instead, she heard herself say the words that would change everything. Are you hungry? He blinked, the first crack in his composure all night. What? I didn't get to eat. Malcolm ordered me a salad, dressing on the side. She shrugged. And then you showed up and he ran away, and I'm actually starving. Dae-jung stared at her. Then, slowly, a real smile spread across his face. I know a place, he said. Best tteokbokki in Seoul. Very exclusive. No reservations. No reservations. It's a street cart. My grandmother's friend runs it. She's 83, and she'll interrogate you about your intentions toward me. Simone laughed again. Sounds perfect. He leaned forward, spoke to the driver in Korean. The car pulled away from the curb, and Simone Achebe, who had come to Seoul for a marketing job and stayed for reasons she was still figuring out, who had sent a desperate message to a wrong number and received a miracle in response, let herself sink into the leather seat, wondering what happened next, not knowing that what happened next would be the most dangerous thing of all. She was about to fall in love with a man the entire underworld feared, and he was about to fall harder. The warehouse in Mapo-gu smelled like rust and fear. Kang Dae-jung stood in the center of the concrete floor, his sleeves rolled to his elbows, watching a man learn the true meaning of regret. The shipping executive tied to the chair had stopped screaming 10 minutes ago. Now he just whimpered. Quiet, broken sounds that echoed off the metal walls. I'll ask you one more time. Dae-jung's voice was calm, patient, almost friendly. Where did the money go? I told you everything. Blood dripped from the man's split lip. Please, I have children. You should have thought about them before you stole from me. The executive flinched like he'd been struck. Dae-jung hadn't touched him. Hadn't needed to. The two men standing behind the chair had done the physical work. Dae-jung preferred a different kind of violence, the kind that lived in words. $300,000. He crouched down, eye level with his prey. Skimmed from shipping manifests over 18 months. Did you think I wouldn't notice? I was going to pay it back. With what? The gambling debts that started this? Or the mistress in Busan who thinks you're going to leave your wife? The man's face crumbled. How did you... I know everything about everyone who works for me. I know your daughter's school. I know your wife's surgery next month. I know the name of the dog you bought your mistress. Pause. Bomi. The dog's name is Bomi. The executive started crying. Dae-jung stood, adjusted his cuffs. The Patek Philippe on his wrist caught the harsh overhead light. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to transfer everything you own to an account my people provide. Your house, your cars, your wife's jewelry, everything. But my family will think you made bad investments, which isn't even a lie. Dae-jung checked his watch. You have 72 hours. After that, this conversation becomes much less pleasant. His phone buzzed. The private line. Dae-jung frowned. That number existed on 5 phones in the world, all belonging to people who knew better than to interrupt him during business. He glanced at the screen. Unknown number. His thumb moved to dismiss it. Wrong number. Some drunk dialing mistakes. Not his problem. Then he read the message. I'm on a wrong date. This guy is a creep. He already ordered a hotel room and won't take his hands off me. I'm scared, Naomi. I think he put something in my drink when I wasn't looking. Please call me in 5 minutes with an emergency. Please. Dae-jung read it twice. Wrong number. Obviously, some woman texting her sister, fingers slipping on the screen. Accidentally sending her fear to a stranger who... I think he put something in my drink. The words lodged in his chest like shrapnel. 9 years. 9 years since another message. Another woman. Another cry for help that arrived too late. His sister's face flashed through his mind. Before and after. The laughing girl who stole his hoodies and believed the world was good. The hollow woman who couldn't sleep without pills, and couldn't be in crowds, and couldn't look at men without flinching. 16 minutes. He'd been 16 minutes too late. The memory never stopped burning. Sir? His lieutenant's voice cut through the haze. Should we continue? Dae-jung looked at the broken man in the chair. Looked at his phone. Looked at the darkness that had been his constant companion since he was 25 years old. What if this is the chance I never got? His body was moving before his mind caught up. We're done here. Sir? I have somewhere to be. He was already walking toward the exit, already pulling up the message, already typing a response. What restaurant? Sent. Handle this. Don't kill him unless he lies again. He didn't wait for acknowledgement. The Mercedes was waiting outside. His driver, trained to ask no questions, had the engine running in seconds. Where to, boss? Gangnam. I'll tell you where when I know. His phone buzzed. I'm so sorry, wrong number. Please ignore that message. He typed back. What restaurant? I'm coming to get you. 3 dots. The woman was typing. I'm serious. This was a mistake. Wrong number. I'm fine. Dae-jung's jaw tightened. He recognized that tone. The desperate minimization. The frantic backpedaling. The terror disguised as politeness. You said he drugged your drink. You said you're scared. That's not fine. Tell me where you are. I'll be there in 15 minutes. Long pause. His security chief, Jae-won, called from the passenger seat. Boss, I'm getting readings on your phone. Multiple text exchanges with an unknown number. Should I be concerned? A woman is in danger. One of ours? A stranger? Silence. Jae-won had worked for the Kang family for 23 years. He'd seen Dae-jung's father build an empire from nothing. He'd watched Dae-jung inherit that empire and make it twice as powerful, twice as feared. He'd never seen him drop everything for a stranger. Sir, with respect, this could be a trap. I know. It could be a setup by Chairman Yoon, a honeypot. A way to compromise you. I know. And you're going anyway. The phone buzzed. Lumiere. The restaurant is called Lumiere, Gangnam District. Dae-jung looked at his security chief, his oldest ally, the man who had pulled him out of 3 assassination attempts and 1 particularly memorable bar fight in Osaka. 9 years ago, I was 16 minutes too late. His voice was quiet. Tonight, I'm going to be on time. Jae-won held his gaze for a long moment, then nodded. I'll have the team sweep the location. Standard protective formation. No, minimal presence. I don't want to scare her. Boss, she's already terrified. She doesn't need a private army making it worse. Then just me, and the driver. Dae-jung considered. Fine, but stay invisible until I signal. What's the signal? If I need help, you'll know. The Mercedes accelerated onto the Gangnam Expressway. 11 minutes to Lumiere. Dae-jung spent them learning everything he could. The restaurant's layout, the exits, the owner who owed him a favor from 2019 involving a gambling debt and a rather unfortunate photograph. The typical clientele, politicians, executives, the kind of men who believed money was a personality. His phone buzzed again. What are you wearing, so I can find you? He'd typed the question before realizing how it sounded, like something a predator would ask, like the man she was trying to escape. But she answered anyway. Black dress, silver earrings. I'm black. American. Black. American. In a city of 10 million Koreans, she'd stand out like a lighthouse. Good. Easier to find. Stay calm. I'm coming. 3 minutes to arrival. Dae-jung checked his reflection in the car window. Black suit, black shirt, the scar on his eyebrow that he'd stopped bothering to hide years ago. He looked like exactly what he was. A man the entire Seoul underworld was right to fear. Is that what she needed right now? A monster to fight her monster? Or would he just be trading one nightmare for another? The car stopped outside Lumiere. Crystal lights spilled through the windows. The beautiful people inside, unaware that their carefully curated evening was about to be interrupted. Dae-jung stepped out. His security team ghosted into position, invisible, waiting. He straightened his jacket and walked through the gilded doors to save a woman he'd never met from a danger he understood too well. We've all had moments where a stranger's choice changed everything. Subscribe now. Because the next moment in this story will make you believe in fate again. The restaurant fell silent the moment he entered. He was used to it. The sudden hush, the averted gazes, the waitstaff suddenly finding urgent business elsewhere. Power had a sound. It was the absence of all other sounds. His eyes swept the room. Systematic, predatory, white tablecloths, crystal stemware, women dripping diamonds, men dripping arrogance, and there, corner table, black dress, silver earrings. Natural hair pulled back from a face that held intelligence and fear in equal measure. She was beautiful. Not in the manufactured way of the women who usually occupied his world. Not the surgically perfected features. Not the careful curation of designer brands and practiced smiles. Something realer. Something that made him forget, for just a moment, why he was here. The man beside her brought it all back. Soft body in an expensive suit. The smug entitlement of generational wealth. One hand on her thigh, possessive and unwelcome. Malcolm Pritchard III. Dae-jung knew the type, had dealt with dozens of them over the years. Men who believed their money made them untouchable. Men who had never been taught the lesson that power, real power, wasn't something you inherited. It was something you became. He walked toward them. The woman's eyes found his across the room, and something passed between them. Not recognition. They'd never met. Something else. Hope. The man beside her looked up, saw him coming. His face went through 3 distinct phases. Confusion, recognition, terror. Mr. Kang. The words came out strangled. I didn't know you. This is. Dae-jung stopped at the table. You're in my seat. The woman, Simone, he would learn her name soon, watched him with those intelligent eyes, reading, calculating, deciding. He could see the exact moment she chose to trust him. It felt like something unlocking in his chest. Something that had been locked for 9 years. She's with me, he said. She's been waiting for me to arrive. And just like that, the game began. The game that would lead them through fire and blood, through secrets and lies, through the kind of love that burns everything it touches. He just didn't know it yet. Neither did she. But the universe did. And the universe, as it turns out, has a very particular sense of timing. Simone's heart was trying to escape through her throat. The man standing at their table radiated danger like heat from a furnace. Every instinct she'd developed growing up on the south side of Chicago, every survival sense honed by years of being a black woman navigating hostile spaces, every warning bell in her body was screaming at maximum volume. Run! Hide! This is not a man you want to notice you. But Malcolm was still there. His hand had finally left her thigh, jerked away like her skin had turned to hot coals the moment he'd recognized the stranger. But he was still there. Still a threat. Still between her and the door. And the stranger had said she was with him. Had called her Jagia. Was offering her a way out. Of course. Her voice came out steadier than she'd expected. 18 months in Seoul had taught her to mask fear. This wasn't even the hardest mask she'd worn. I was just keeping your friend company. The stranger's expression flickered. Amusement? Approval? My friend? The temperature dropped. Is that what you are, Mr. Pritchard? My friend? Malcolm was sweating now, visibly. His $4,000 suit darkening under the arms. His carefully styled hair falling across his forehead in damp strings. We met on an app, he stammered. I had no idea she was. She never said anything about. An app. The stranger's voice was silk over steel. And on this app. Did she mention she was mine? Mine. The word should have offended her. Should have triggered every feminist instinct she possessed. Instead, it felt like armor. No, she didn't. I swear. I had no idea. Then you're not a friend. The stranger leaned down. Slow. Deliberate. You're just a man who touched something precious without permission. His face was inches from Malcolm's. Do you know what I do to men like that? Malcolm made a sound, high-pitched, pathetic. Please, I didn't know. I'll leave. I'll never. You'll pay for dinner. Each word was a separate sentence. You'll apologize to the lady, and you'll never use dating apps again. Malcolm nodded frantically. If I hear you've touched another woman who didn't want you, I'll hear about it. The stranger straightened, adjusted his cuffs, as calm as if he'd been discussing stock prices. And I'll remember this conversation. Malcolm threw money on the table. Hundreds. Thousands. More than the bill by a factor of 10. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Ms. Achebe, I'm truly... Leave. The stranger didn't raise his voice. Didn't need to. Now. Malcolm fled. Actually fled. A grown man sprinting through a Michelin-starred restaurant like something was chasing him. And in a way, something was. The stranger's reputation. Simone watched him go, watched the door swing closed behind him, watched her nightmare walk out into the soul night and disappear. Then she turned to the man who had made it happen. Thank you. He extended his hand. I believe you needed rescuing. She took it. His palm was warm, calloused, strong. His fingers closed around hers with surprising gentleness. I'm Kang Dae-jung. He guided her toward the exit. We should leave before someone gets brave enough to record us. She noticed the two massive men who had appeared from nowhere, flanking them like shadows made solid. Noticed the way the restaurant parted around them like water around stone. Noticed how no one made eye contact. Who are you? She whispered. Someone you texted by accident. He held the door for her. Someone who decided to answer. The black Mercedes was waiting at the curb. He opened the rear door, gestured for her to enter. Simone hesitated. One car, two strangers. A city of 10 million people who would never know she'd gotten in. This was how people disappeared. But she looked at Kang Dae-jung's face, the scar, the intensity, the way he waited patiently instead of pushing, the way he hadn't touched her beyond her hand. The way he'd given Malcolm a chance to leave, instead of destroying him on the spot. Dangerous, yes, but not to her. She got in the car. He slid in beside her. The door closed. Silence. Leather seats pressed against her back. Tinted windows turned the city into an abstract light show. The privacy partition separated them from the driver, creating a space that felt suspended from reality. You came. She heard herself say the words, felt their weight. You actually came. You asked for help. Simple, direct. I was available. You don't know me. No. You could have ignored it. Wrong number, not your problem. I could have. Why didn't you? The silence stretched, thickened. Outside Seoul glittered, millions of lives happening simultaneously, none of them touching this moment. This car. These two people who had found each other through accident and fear. 9 years ago, he finally said. My sister sent a message very similar to yours. Simone's breath caught. She was at a club. A man had bought her drinks. By the time her text reached me, she was barely conscious. His jaw was tight, a muscle jumping beneath the scar on his eyebrow. I got there too late. 16 minutes too late. I'm sorry. The words felt inadequate, pathetic against the weight of what he was sharing. She survived. Physically. He turned to look at her. Those dark eyes holding depths she couldn't fathom. But the woman who laughed at my jokes and stole my hoodies and believed the world was basically good? That woman died in a hospital room while doctors explained what had been done to her. Simone didn't speak. Couldn't speak. When I saw your message, a stranger's fear, arriving by accident, I thought... He paused, swallowed. What if this is the chance I never got? What if this time I can be on time? So, you came. I came. Something shifted in the space between them. Not romance, not yet. Something rawer, more honest. Recognition. Two people who understood that the world could break you if you weren't careful. Two people who had learned that lesson in different ways. Two people who had somehow found each other in a city of 10 million strangers. I texted a wrong number, Simone said slowly, and a mafia boss showed up to save me. Alleged mafia boss. The corner of his mouth twitched. The prosecutors have never made anything stick. That's supposed to be reassuring? Is it working? She should have said no. Should have demanded he take her home immediately. Should have started calculating the fastest way to get on a plane back to Chicago. Instead, she laughed. Surprisingly, yes. He smiled. Actually smiled. It transformed him completely. The danger softened. The coldness warmed. For just a moment, he looked like a man instead of a myth. Where can I take you? He asked. Home? A friend's house? Somewhere you feel safe? She should say home. She should end this insane night, this impossible encounter, this story she would never be able to tell anyone because they would never believe it. She opened her mouth to say home. Are you hungry? The words came out instead. He blinked. What? I didn't get to eat. She was talking fast now, babbling. Malcolm ordered me a salad, dressing on the side, because apparently I need to watch my figure. She made air quotes. And then you showed up and he ran away and I'm actually starving. Dae-jung stared at her. This woman. This stranger who had accidentally invited a predator to dinner and then accidentally summoned a bigger predator to save her. This woman who was sitting in his car, surrounded by his security, at the mercy of his decisions. This woman who should be terrified. She was asking him to dinner. He started to laugh. Real laughter. The kind that came from somewhere deep. The kind he hadn't made in years. I know a place. He leaned forward to speak to the driver. Best tteokbokki in Seoul. Very exclusive. No reservations? No reservations. His eyes found hers again. Sparkling now. It's a street cart. My grandmother's friend runs it. She's 83, and she'll interrogate you about your intentions toward me. Simone grinned. Sounds perfect. The car changed direction, and somewhere in the soul night, fate was laughing. Because this was only the beginning. He just claimed her in front of everyone. But is he her salvation, or her next nightmare? Non-subscribers miss the moment everything changes. Don't be that person. The street cart was exactly as advertised. Plastic stools. Steam rising from massive pots. The smell of gochujang and sesame oil thick in the air. A tiny woman with silver hair and sharp eyes who took one look at Simone and started speaking rapid Korean that sounded distinctly suspicious. "What's she saying?" Simone whispered. "She's asking if you eat." Daejung's lips twitched. "And why you're so skinny. And whether I kidnapped you." "What did you tell her?" "That you eat like a normal person, and I rescued you from a bad date." The old woman, Grandmother Yoon, he called her, squinted at Simone for a long moment, then nodded. Pretty eyes. Heavily accented English. Sad, though. Why sad? Simone opened her mouth. Closed it. "Life," she finally said. Grandmother Yoon nodded again, like that was the only answer that made sense. "Sit. Eat. Life is better with full stomach." The tteokbokki arrived on paper plates, chewy rice cakes swimming in spicy red sauce, fish cakes, boiled eggs cut in half, steam rising into the cool night air. Simone took a bite and made a sound that was borderline inappropriate. "Oh my God." Daejung was watching her with an expression she couldn't read. "You like it." "This is the best thing I've ever eaten." She wasn't exaggerating. "Why didn't Malcolm take me here? This is worth more than that entire stupid restaurant." "Malcolm," Daejung said quietly, "wouldn't be caught dead here." "Then Malcolm is an idiot." "We've established that." She laughed, kept eating. Let the spice burn her tongue and the warmth spread through her chest, and the absurdity of this night wash over her in waves. She was having street food with a mafia boss. Alleged mafia boss. At midnight, in Seoul. After being rescued from a date that could have ended very, very badly. What was her life? "You're staring," she said without looking up. "You eat like you mean it. Is that a compliment?" "Where I come from, it's the highest one." She glanced up, caught his expression. Something soft, something warm, something that made her stomach do things that had nothing to do with tteokbokki. "Tell me something," she said. "Something real." He considered. Took a bite of his own food, chewed slowly. "I haven't eaten street food in 8 months." "Why?" "Too dangerous, too exposed." He gestured vaguely at the city around them. "Too many people who would like to see me dead." "But you're here now." "I'm here now." "Why?" He looked at her. Just looked. And Simone felt something crack open in her chest. Something that had been sealed shut since she'd arrived in this country alone, and afraid, and determined to start over. "Because," he said slowly, "for the first time in a long time, I wanted to remember what it felt like to be a person. Not a position, not a name, just a man eating food with a woman." Simone set down her chopsticks. "That might be the saddest thing I've ever heard. Probably. And also the most romantic." He raised an eyebrow. "Romantic?" "You dropped everything. Came to rescue a stranger. Brought her to your secret street food spot." She shrugged. "In any other context, this would be a meet cute." "A what?" "A meet cute. It's a movie term. The charming first encounter that sets up a love story." He was quiet for a moment. "Is that what this is? A love story?" The question hung in the air. Simone should have deflected. Should have laughed it off. Should have reminded both of them that they'd known each other for exactly 90 minutes, and most of that time had involved criminal intimidation. Instead, she said, "I don't know yet." His eyes held hers. "Neither do I." Grandmother Yoon appeared with more food, muttered something in Korean that made Daejung cough. What did she say? Nothing. Liar. She said, he cleared his throat, that I should marry you before someone smarter steals you. Simone burst out laughing, and somewhere in the laughter, somewhere in the spice and the steam and the impossible reality of this night, something began. Something neither of them expected. Something that would change everything. But for now, they were just two people eating tteokbokki. And that was enough. The drive to her apartment building took 23 minutes. Simone spent most of it learning fragments of the man beside her, small details that didn't fit the terrifying reputation. He preferred classical music but secretly loved American hip-hop. He hadn't seen his father in 3 years. He spoke 5 languages but dreamed only in Korean. "What do you dream about?" she asked. He was quiet for so long she thought he wouldn't answer. "Doors," he finally said. "Doors I can't open in time." She understood without asking. 16 minutes. The car stopped outside her building, a modest high-rise in Itaewon. Not luxurious, but respectable. The kind of place a single foreign woman with a decent marketing job could afford. "This is me." She didn't move to open the door. Neither did he. The driver sat motionless behind the partition. The security team waited in vehicles she couldn't see. The entire night held its breath. "You'll be safe now." His voice was soft. "He won't bother you again." "You're certain?" "I'm certain." She should get out, should thank him again, should let this strange, magical night dissolve into memory and move on with her normal life. "Will I see you again?" The question escaped before she could stop it. Something flickered in his eyes. "You shouldn't want to. That's not what I asked." He turned to face her fully. In the dim light of the car, his scar looked silver. His eyes were black depths with no bottom. Simone. Her name sounded different in his voice. Heavier. More important. "I'm not a good man." "I didn't say you were. The things I do, the world I live in, it's not." He stopped, started again. "You're innocent. Clean. You came to Seoul to start fresh. I would ruin that. Maybe I don't want to be clean." The words surprised them both. Simone didn't know where they'd come from. Didn't know why she was fighting for something she'd known for less than 3 hours. Didn't know anything except that she wasn't ready for this night to end. "You don't mean that. Don't tell me what I mean." His jaw tightened. "You're stubborn." "I'm Southside Chicago. We don't come any other way." A ghost of a smile. "I noticed." Silence. The city breathed around them. "I'll find you," he finally said, "if I can. If it's safe, but I won't make promises I might not keep." "Fair enough." She reached for the door handle. His hand caught hers. She turned. He was close. Closer than he'd been all night. She could smell his cologne. Something subtle. Expensive. Underneath it, something warmer. More human. "Thank you," he said, "for not being afraid." "I was terrified. But you answered anyway." "So did you." He looked at their hands, his wrapped around hers, dark skin against darker. Slowly, like he was giving her time to pull away, he lifted her hand to his lips, pressed a kiss to her knuckles. Just that. Nothing more. It wasn't enough. It was everything. "Good night, Simona Chebe." She couldn't speak, could barely breathe. He released her hand. She opened the door, stepped out into the cool night air, walked toward her building on legs that didn't feel entirely solid. At the entrance, she turned. The black Mercedes was still there, still waiting, making sure she got inside safely. She lifted her hand. The car pulled away, and Simone Achebe stood in the Seoul night, heart pounding, mind racing, wondering what the hell had just happened to her life. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. "You're home safe. Good. Sleep well." Then another message. "I already miss you." She stared at the screen, typed back before she could stop herself. "I miss you too." Three dots. That's dangerous. I know. You should run from men like me. Probably. Why don't you? She smiled at her phone, at this impossible conversation, at this impossible night. Because you came when I called, even though I called the wrong number. Long pause. Good night, Jagia. Jagia. Darling. She was smiling so hard her face hurt. Good night, Daejung. She went inside, took the elevator up, fell into bed without changing her dress, and dreamed of doors opening exactly on time. She's about to have dinner with the most dangerous man in Seoul. What happens next will make you believe some wrong numbers are destiny. Still not subscribed? You're about to miss the moment she falls. The morning came too bright and too soon. Simone woke to her phone exploding with notifications. 47 text messages, 12 missed calls, 3 voicemails of increasing hysteria, all from her sister. Simone Achebe. The first text, "Where are you?" Second, "I saw the video." Third, "Is that Kang Dae-jung?" Fourth, "The Kang Dae-jung?" Fifth, video attached. Simone clicked it with trembling fingers. Shaky smartphone footage, clearly taken by someone at Lumiere trying to be discreet. The video showed Dae-jung confronting Malcolm, his hand on the table, his face inches from Malcolm's terrified expression. No audio, just visuals. But the visuals were enough. 2.3 million views, comments flooding in. Who is she? Kang Dae-jung has a girlfriend? Protect this queen at all costs. He's so hot when he's threatening people, OMG. That man just claimed her in front of everyone. Simone's stomach dropped. Her face was visible in the background. Not clearly, not enough for a stranger to identify, but clearly enough for anyone who knew her. Which meant everyone at her job, everyone in her building, everyone. Her phone rang. Naomi's face filled the screen. She answered. Simone Achebe, you had better explain right now. It's not what it looks like. It looks like you're dating a literal crime boss. Alleged crime boss. Simone, she took a breath, let it out, and told her sister everything. The dating app, Malcolm, the drugged champagne, the wrong number, the rescue, the teokbokki, the kiss on her hand. By the end, Naomi was silent. Nay, you still there? I'm processing. Process faster. You texted a wrong number and a mafia boss showed up to save you. Alleged. Girl, stop with the alleged. I looked him up. The man controls half of Seoul's underground economy. He's been investigated for everything from money laundering to assault to suspected involvement in like 6 different disappearances. He saved my life. He's dangerous. I know. He could destroy you. I know that too. Silence, then quieter. You're falling for him, aren't you? Simone closed her eyes. I just met him. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have. Naomi sighed, the long-suffering sigh of an older sister who had spent 30 years watching her baby sister make questionable decisions. Be careful. Please. I can't lose you. You won't. Promise me. I promise. She hung up, stared at the ceiling. Her phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Did they arrive safely? She sat up, looked toward her door, got up, walked across her tiny apartment, opened it, white orchids, a massive arrangement, expensive, elegant, no card. She picked them up, carried them inside, set them on her kitchen table, typed back. How did you get my address? I'm thorough. That's not reassuring. And yet you're smiling. She was. She hated that he was right. Thank you for the flowers. Thank you for not running. Should I? 3 dots, appearing, disappearing, appearing again. You should, but you don't want me to. Long pause. No, I don't. Simone bit her lip. I have to go to work. I know, marketing director at Hana Tech. You have a meeting at 10 about the Q4 campaign. How do you? I told you, I'm thorough. Are you stalking me? Protecting you. There's a difference. Is there? When I stalk someone, they don't know about it. She laughed despite herself. You're impossible. So, I've been told. I really have to go. I know. A pause. Then, tonight, 8 p.m. I'll send a car. For what? Dinner. Somewhere you won't have to hide in the bathroom. Is this a date? Do you want it to be? She should say no. She should be smart. She should remember who he was, and what he did, and all the reasons this was a catastrophically bad idea. Yes, she typed. I want it to be. Then it's a date. 8 p.m. Wear something comfortable. Comfortable? Trust me. She shouldn't. She did. 8 p.m. See you then, Jagia. She put down the phone, looked at the orchids. Looked at her reflection in the window. She was glowing. This was such a mistake. This was the best mistake she'd ever made. The car arrived at exactly 8 p.m. Simone had changed outfits 7 times before settling on dark jeans, a silk blouse, and comfortable flats. Wear something comfortable could mean anything. A hike, a casual dinner, an escape from assassins. With Dae-jung, all 3 seemed equally plausible. The Mercedes was different tonight. Bigger, an SUV instead of a sedan. The driver who opened her door was new too. Shorter, broader, face like it had been carved from granite and then punched repeatedly for practice. Ms. Achebe. His English was heavily accented but clear. Mr. Kang sends his regards. He'll meet you at the destination. Which is? A surprise. Of course it was. The drive took 40 minutes. Out of Gangnam. Past the glittering towers, into neighborhoods she didn't recognize. Then out of the city entirely, winding up into the mountains north of Seoul. Simone watched the lights fade behind them. Tried not to think about all the ways this could go wrong. The car finally stopped at a gate. High walls, security cameras, guards who approached with flashlights and weapons barely concealed. Papers were checked. Phone calls were made. The gate opened. They drove another 5 minutes up a private road, and then she saw it. The house, if you could call it that, seemed to grow from the mountain itself. Modern architecture married to traditional Korean design. Stone and glass and wood blending into the forest around it. Lights glowed from within, warm and inviting against the dark. Home, the driver said simply. His home. Dae-jung was bringing her to his home. The front door opened as she stepped out of the car. He stood in the doorway. Different tonight. Softer. Dark sweater instead of a suit. Bare feet. His hair slightly messy, like he'd been running his hands through it. He looked almost normal. Almost safe. You came. His voice carried across the gravel driveway. You asked. I wasn't sure you would. She walked toward him. Neither was I. Up close, she could see the tension he was trying to hide, the tightness around his eyes, the way his hands stayed at his sides like he was forcing them not to reach for her. This is your house? One of them. The one I actually like. How many do you have? Enough. She shouldn't find that charming. She did anyway. He stepped aside to let her enter. The interior was stunning. High ceilings, minimal furniture. Art that probably cost more than her yearly salary hanging on walls of exposed stone. But it was the view that stole her breath. The entire back of the house was glass. Beyond it, Seoul spread out like a galaxy fallen to Earth, 10 million lights burning against the dark. Oh, she breathed. I know. He came to stand beside her, not touching, just close enough that she could feel his warmth. I used to come here when I was a child, before my father built the house. Just the mountain and the view. I'd sit for hours watching the city grow. It's beautiful. It's mine. He said it quietly. Everything that light touches. Mine to protect. Mine to command. A pause. Mine to lose, if I'm not careful. She turned to look at him. Is that why you brought me here? To show me what you are? No. His eyes found hers. I brought you here because this is where I feel most human, and I wanted you to see that part of me. Before what? Before you decide to run. She should run. Everything logical. Everything safe. Everything her sister and her mother and her own survival instincts had taught her screamed that she should run. Instead, she reached out, took his hand. I'm still here. His breath caught, just slightly, just enough for her to notice. I don't understand you. His voice was rough. I've spent my entire life reading people, predicting them. I can't predict you. Good. It's not good. It's terrifying. Welcome to my world, he laughed, that real laugh she was learning to treasure. Come, I made dinner. You cook? Don't sound so surprised. He led her deeper into the house, through a living room with a fireplace already crackling, past a hallway lined with photographs she wanted to examine later, into a kitchen that managed to be both professional grade and warmly inviting. The smell hit her first. Garlic, ginger, something sweet and spicy. Sit, he gestured to a stool at the massive island. Wine? Please, he poured. Red, deep, and rich. She watched him move through the kitchen. Confident, practiced, stirring something on the stove, checking something in the oven. His bare feet silent on the heated floors. You're staring, he said without turning around. You cook barefoot. Shoes are for outside. Very Korean of you. Very human of me. He glanced over his shoulder, smiled. Even monsters take off their shoes. You're not a monster. You don't know that. I know you saved me. I know you kissed my hand like I was precious. I know you made me dinner instead of taking me to a restaurant where you could show off. He was quiet for a moment. Maybe that's the most dangerous thing about me. He turned back to the stove. I'm very good at pretending. Simone sipped her wine. So am I. They ate at the kitchen island. He'd made bulgogi, kimchi fried rice, pickled vegetables. Everything perfect. Everything clearly made by hand, not ordered in. Where did you learn to cook? My grandmother. The same one with the teokbokki friend, she assumed. She believed every man should be able to feed himself, and anyone he loved. Smart woman. Terrifying woman. She ran this family before my father. She still thinks she does. Does she know about me? He set down his chopsticks. She knows I left a business meeting to rescue a stranger. She knows I took that stranger for teokbokki. She knows I sent flowers to an apartment in Itaewon. A pause. She's probably having you investigated as we speak. Investigated? Background checks, credit history, social media analysis, previous relationships, family connections. Simone should be horrified, should be outraged. Instead, she laughed. She's not going to find anything interesting. I'm exactly what I look like. Marketing professional from Chicago. No criminal record, no exciting exes. Just ordinary. There is nothing ordinary about you. The words landed differently than he probably intended. Her laughter faded. You really believe that? I've known thousands of people. Powerful people. Dangerous people. People who could buy countries or burn them down. He picked up his wine. None of them would have asked a stranger to dinner after he threatened a man at their table. I was hungry. You were brave. She looked away, uncomfortable with the intensity in his gaze. I was stupid. I should have run. I should have gone home and called the police and never thought about you again. Why didn't you? Because you looked at me like I was worth saving. Because you came when no one else would have. Because something in you recognizes something in me, and I'm too curious to walk away. I told you. She met his eyes again. I was hungry. He smiled, soft, real, devastating. Are you still hungry? Depends. She pushed her plate aside. What's for dessert? The question hung in the air, loaded with meaning they both understood. He set down his wine glass, stood, walked around the island until he was standing in front of her, close, so close she could count his eyelashes, could see the fine lines at the corners of his eyes, could map every millimeter of that scar. Simone. Her name. Just her name. But the way he said it made it sound like a prayer. Yes? I'm going to kiss you now. Okay. If you don't want me to, say so. I want you to. Are you sure? Because once I start, Daejung. Yes? Stop talking. He kissed her. Not gentle this time. Not questioning. His mouth found hers with precision. With hunger. With 9 years of loneliness poured into a single point of contact. She grabbed his sweater, pulled him closer, opened for him when his tongue requested entry. He tasted like wine and warmth and danger. He tasted like the best mistake she'd ever make. His hands found her waist, lifted her off the stool, set her on the counter like she weighed nothing, stepped between her legs. She wrapped her arms around his neck, pulled until there was no space left between them. They kissed until breathing became optional, until the city lights blurred through the windows, until everything that wasn't this moment faded to static. When they finally pulled apart, both gasping, foreheads pressed together, she laughed, breathless, giddy, terrified. That was, yes. We should probably, yes. I don't want to stop. Neither do I. He pressed another kiss to her lips, brief, promise of more. But I need you to be sure. What I am, what you'd be getting into. I need you to understand. I understand. You don't. Not yet. He pulled back slightly. There are people who want me dead. There are things in my past that would make you run. There are consequences to being with me that you can't imagine. Then tell me. I will. But not tonight. Another kiss. Tonight, I just want to be a man who met a woman, before everything gets complicated. It's already complicated. More complicated then. She studied his face, the hope he was trying to hide, the fear underneath it. Okay. She kissed him softly. Tonight, we're just 2 people. And tomorrow? Tomorrow you tell me everything, and I'll decide if I stay. Fair enough. They kissed again, and outside the massive windows, Seoul sparkled, oblivious to the fact that 2 people were falling into something that would either save them both, or destroy everything. Would you date him? Some say she's brave. Others say she's lost her mind. Comment your verdict. And if you're not subscribed yet, you'll miss what happens at that gallery. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. 3 hours later, Simone was curled against his side on the massive couch facing the window. A blanket draped over them, the fire crackling low, the city lights scattered like diamonds below. They'd talked, for hours, about nothing important. Favorite movies, worst cooking disasters. The time she'd gotten lost in Hongdae for 4 hours because her phone died and her Korean wasn't good enough to ask for directions. Normal things, safe things. The calm before whatever storm was coming. It's late, he said finally. I should take you home. Probably. Neither of them moved. Or, he hesitated, there's a guest room. If you'd rather not drive back tonight. A guest room? I'm not... He shifted uncomfortably. I'm not trying to... I know. She smiled against his shoulder. You're being a gentleman. I'm trying. How's that working out for you? Painfully. She laughed, sat up, looked at him. Guest room sounds perfect. Relief and disappointment warred on his face. I'll show you. He led her through the house, up a staircase, down a hallway that seemed to go on forever. The guest room was larger than her entire apartment. Bed the size of a small country, private bathroom, fresh clothes laid out, everything she could possibly need. How did you— I told you. He leaned against the doorframe. I'm thorough. This is a lot of thorough. I like being prepared. She walked to the clothes, her size, her preferred style. Even her brand of face wash in the bathroom. This should be creepy. Is it? She thought about it. No, it's thoughtful. She turned to face him. Terrifyingly thoughtful. That's my specialty. They stood there, doorway between them. The whole night hanging in the balance. Good night, Simone. Good night, Daejong. He didn't move. She didn't either. I want to stay. The words were out before she could stop them. In here, I mean. I know we said tomorrow, but I don't want to be alone. Not yet. His expression shifted, softened. I could stay. Just to sleep. Just to sleep? I promise nothing will happen that you don't want. What if I want things to happen? The question hung between them, his control visibly strained. Then we'll have that conversation. Tomorrow, when you've had time to think clearly. When you're not running on adrenaline and red wine. You're very honorable for a crime boss. Alleged crime boss. She smiled. Stay. Please, just stay. He did. They lay in the massive bed, his arm around her, her head on his chest. The sound of his heartbeat steady in her ear. Safe. For the first time in 18 months in this foreign country, she felt completely safe. Daejung? Thank you. For what? Answering the wrong number. His arm tightened around her. Thank you for sending it. She closed her eyes and fell asleep in the arms of the most dangerous man in Seoul, not knowing that tomorrow would bring the first crack in their fragile peace, not knowing that someone was watching, not knowing that the text she'd sent to the wrong number had been intercepted, and that the man who intercepted it wanted to burn everything Kang Dae-jung loved, starting with her. He knows her name. She never told him. What else does he know? Comment fate if you think he's already falling for her, and subscribe, because what he does next will shock you. Simone's phone buzzed at 3:47 a.m. She reached for it in the darkness, still half asleep, still wrapped in the warmth of Dae-jung's arms. The screen's glow cut through the bedroom like a blade. Unknown number. Not Dae-jung's unknown number. She'd saved his contact by now. A different one. The message made her blood freeze solid. You're playing a dangerous game, Ms. Achebe. Some games you can't win. She sat up, heart hammering. Reread it again. The message disappeared. Just vanished. Like it had never existed. She tried to screenshot. Too late. Tried to find it in her message history. Nothing. Just empty space where the threat had been. Simone? Dae-jung's voice was alert. Instantly awake. What's wrong? There was a message. He was already moving, taking her phone, scrolling through with practiced efficiency. I don't see anything. It was there. It said I was playing a dangerous game. It said some games I can't win. Then it just disappeared. His expression hardened. The soft man from dinner was gone. The crime boss was back. Stay here. He was out of bed before she could respond. Phone already at his ear. Speaking rapid Korean that sounded like commands, not requests. Simone sat in the massive bed, alone. Cold despite the heated floors and the blanket pooled around her waist. Someone knew she was here. Someone was watching. 45 minutes later, the house was full of people. Jae Won, the security chief she'd met briefly during the extraction from Lumiere. 3 other men she didn't recognize, all with the same stone-faced efficiency. A woman with glasses and a laptop who seemed to be some kind of technical specialist. They spoke in Korean, fast, urgent. Simone sat on the couch in borrowed clothes, feeling very small and very American. and very much like she'd wandered into something far bigger than a wrong number. Dae-jung finally came to her. His face was grim. The message was routed through 17 different servers across 4 countries. Whoever sent it knew what they were doing. Who would do that? Who even knows about us? Everyone. He sat beside her, close but not touching. The video from Lumiere. It went viral. Our faces are everywhere. But that doesn't explain the disappearing message. That's not normal stalker behavior. No, it's not. He was quiet for a moment. There are people who don't want me to be happy. People who would use anything, anyone, to hurt me. Chairman Yoon. The name surfaced from her research the day before. The man from the articles. You've been reading about me. I wanted to know who I was falling for. The admission hung between them. He reached out, took her hand. Yoon Sung-ho has been trying to destroy my family for 30 years. My father took something from him, something he's never forgiven. What? Power. His thumb traced circles on her palm. My father unified the Seoul syndicates in 1994. Before that, Yoon controlled the South. He's spent 3 decades trying to get it back. And now he's using me? He's testing me, seeing what matters enough to make me vulnerable. Dae-jung's grip tightened. I should send you home. Keep you away from all of this. Keep you safe. Is that what you want? I want you alive? That's not what I asked. He looked at her. Really looked. No. That's not what I want. Then stop trying to push me away. This isn't a game, Simone. These people, they don't play by rules. They don't care about innocent bystanders. I'm not a bystander. She turned her hand over, laced her fingers through his. Not anymore. The sun was rising by the time everyone left. Simone stood at the window, watching the city wake up below. Orange lights spilling across the mountains. Seoul transforming from a galaxy of lights into a concrete jungle of possibility. Dae-jung came up behind her, wrapped his arms around her waist, rested his chin on her shoulder. I have security following you now. 24/7. You won't see them, but they'll be there. I feel like a mob wife. You're not a wife. Not yet. The words slipped out before she could stop them. He went still. Simone. I know. Too fast. Wrong thing to say. Forget I... He turned her around, cupped her face in his hands. When this is over. When Yoon is handled. When you're safe. He pressed his forehead to hers. Ask me again. Her heart stopped. What? Ask me again. About being a wife. His voice was rough. And I'll give you a different answer. She couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. Couldn't do anything except stare at this man who had answered a wrong number and somehow become everything. Okay, she whispered. He kissed her. Soft. Sweet. Full of promises neither of them should be making. But making anyway. Her phone buzzed. They broke apart. Naomi's face on the screen. I should take this. I'll make breakfast. He walked toward the kitchen. She answered the call. Girl? Naomi's voice was sharp with worry. Where are you? I've been calling for hours. I'm fine. I'm with Dae-jung. At 4 a.m? It's complicated. Simone Achebe, tell me you didn't sleep with the Mafia boss. I didn't sleep with him. Technically true. They had slept. Just slept. But I stayed at his place. Silence. Naomi? I'm trying to decide if I need to fly to Seoul. You don't. Are you sure? Because it sounds like you've lost your whole mind. Simone looked toward the kitchen, where a man worth billions was making her breakfast in bare feet because he didn't wear shoes in his own home, where a man the entire underworld feared was humming something that sounded suspiciously like a Taylor Swift song. Maybe I have, she admitted, but it's the happiest I've been in years. Naomi was quiet for a long moment. Then I guess I'm happy for you. A pause. But if he hurts you? I'm flying over there and I'm bringing Daddy's shotgun. Noted. I love you, baby sister. Love you too, Nay. She hung up, walked toward the kitchen, toward the smell of eggs and the sound of humming, and the future she was terrified to want. 4 weeks passed. 4 weeks of stolen moments between Daejung's business and her job. 4 weeks of midnight drives and rooftop conversations and dinners at that street cart where Grandmother Yoon had started calling her granddaughter-in-law despite Simone's protests. 4 weeks of learning each other. She learned that he couldn't sleep without white noise, that he'd studied classical piano until he was 15, then stopped the day his father told him music was weakness, that he kept a worn copy of The Little Prince in his nightstand because his mother had read it to him before she died. He learned that she talked in her sleep, usually arguments with people who had wronged her, that she'd wanted to be a marine biologist before reality had pushed her toward marketing, that she sent money home every month to help her mother with the mortgage on the house she'd grown up in. They learned each other's rhythms, each other's silences, each other's fears, and they fell. Hard, fast, inevitably. The gallery opening was on a Friday. Daejung had mentioned it a week earlier. Casual, like it wasn't a test. There's an event, art, I'm expected to attend. Expected? Required. It's good for appearances, the legitimate businessman attending legitimate functions. And you want me to come? I want you beside me. He'd said it simply, but you should know what that means. What does it mean? It means everyone will see. Everyone will know. You'll become part of my world in a way you can't take back. She'd thought about it for 3 days, then said yes. Would you date him? Some say she's brave. Others say she's lost her mind. Comment your verdict, and if you're not subscribed yet, you'll miss what happens at that gallery. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. The dress arrived on Thursday. Midnight blue, custom made, worth more than 3 months of her salary. No card, just a note in his handwriting. For my future wife, if she still wants to be. Simone stared at the note for a long time, then tried on the dress. It fit perfectly, because of course it did. Friday evening, she descended the staircase of the Shilla Hotel and watched Daejung's face transform. He was waiting at the bottom. Black tuxedo. No scar visible tonight. Some kind of makeup. She assumed. Looking like he belonged on magazine covers instead of most wanted lists. But when he saw her, all that composure cracked. His lips parted. His eyes went wide. His hand reached out like he couldn't help himself. You're stunning. You're staring. Everyone is staring. She looked around. He was right. Every eye in the lobby was on her. On them. The black American woman in the blue dress. The Korean crime lord in the perfect tux. A headline waiting to happen. Ready? He asked. No. Neither am I. They stepped into the ballroom together. Let the world watch. Let the world wonder. Let the consequences come. She was falling in love with the most dangerous man in Seoul. And she didn't care anymore who knew it. He knows her name. She never told him. What else does he know? Comment fate if you think he's already falling for her. And subscribe, because what he does next will shock you. The ballroom was a battlefield disguised as a party. Simone figured that out within the first 5 minutes. Every smile hid strategy. Every handshake was a negotiation. Every laugh covered something sharper underneath. And everyone was watching them. Daejung navigated it all with practiced ease, introducing her as Simone without titles or explanations, letting people draw their own conclusions. They drew them quickly. Whispers followed them like shadows. Is that his new woman? She's American. She's black. What is he thinking? Simone heard them all, pretended she didn't. Daejung's hand on the small of her back was the only thing keeping her grounded. You're doing beautifully, he murmured against her ear. I'm terrified. That's why it's beautiful. They danced, twice around the floor while cameras flashed and people pretended not to record them. They made small talk with business partners and politicians, and people whose names Simone would never remember. They performed, and then Chairman Yoon approached. Simone recognized him from the photos in her research. Silver hair swept back from a face that had probably been handsome 40 years ago. Cold eyes that had never been kind. A smile that showed too many teeth. Kang. His voice was silk over broken glass. Your new pet is lovely. Daejung's grip on her waist tightened. Chairman Yoon, this is Simone Achebe. Foreign. Yoon's gaze traveled over her body like she was livestock at auction. Exotic. He stepped closer. Does she know what she's gotten herself into? She knows exactly who I am. Does she know who we are? Simone spoke before Daejung could respond. I know enough. Yoon's eyebrows rose. She speaks. She does. Simone held his gaze, refused to look away. And she's not afraid of old men with expensive suits and cheap intimidation tactics. The temperature around them plummeted. People nearby suddenly found other places to be. Yoon's smile widened, but his eyes went flat. Dead. I see why he likes you. He leaned closer, lowered his voice so only she could hear. Enjoy it while you can, Ms. Achebe. Nothing Kang Daejung loves survives for long. He walked away. Simone realized she was shaking. Daejung pulled her close. What did he say? Nothing I didn't expect. Simone. He said nothing you love survives. She looked up at him. Is that true? His jaw tightened. It has been. And now? He didn't answer. He didn't need to. The fear in his eyes said everything. The lights flickered. Once. Twice. Then plunged the ballroom into complete darkness. Screaming, glass shattering, the sound of tables overturning. Simone! Daejung's voice, sharp, commanding. Don't let go! His hand found hers in the darkness, locked tight. The first explosion came from the east wall. Fire bloomed across Simone's vision. Heat slammed into her like a physical force. Daejung was pulling her down, covering her body with his, shouting something she couldn't hear over the ringing in her ears. The second explosion came from the north. The ceiling started to fall, and everything went white. The building just exploded. She might not survive the next chapter. If you leave now, you'll never know. Subscribe. This isn't optional anymore. Smoke, blood, screaming that wouldn't stop. Simone opened her eyes to chaos. The ballroom was destroyed. Crystal chandeliers lay shattered across the marble floor like fallen stars. Tables overturned. Bodies everywhere. Some moving, some not. Weight pressed down on her chest. Daejung. He was unconscious, his body covering hers completely. He'd shielded her from the blast, taken the debris meant for both of them. Blood trickled from a gash on his temple. No. Her voice came out as a croak. No, no, no. She pressed her fingers to his neck, searching, praying. Pulse, weak but steady. He was alive. Help! The word tore from her throat. Somebody help! Jae-won appeared through the smoke like a ghost materializing from nightmare. His suit was torn, blood on his face. But he was moving, functioning. Ms. Achebe, we need to move, now. He's hurt. I know, we have people coming. Jae-won was already lifting Daejung with help from another guard who had emerged from the wreckage. Can you walk? Simone tried to stand, her legs held. Barely. Go, follow Kwan. He'll get you out. I'm not leaving him. Ms. Achebe. I said I'm not leaving him. Something in her voice made Jae-won pause. He nodded once. Then stay close. Don't stop. Don't look back. They moved through the destruction, past people crying, past people not crying anymore, past flames licking at fallen curtains and smoke thick enough to choke on. Emergency exits, blocked. Main entrance. Collapsed. There. Jae-won pointed to a service door half hidden behind a demolished bar. Kitchen access. Goes to the loading dock. They pushed through. The kitchen was intact. Relatively. Staff cowering under stainless steel prep tables. Pots still simmering on industrial stoves. The surreal mundanity of interrupted routine. Through the kitchen, down a hallway, out into cold night air that hit Simone's lungs like a gift from heaven. Vehicles waited, black SUVs with engines running, medical team already assembled. They loaded Dae-jung into the back of the largest SUV. Simone climbed in after him, refused to be separated. The door slammed shut. The convoy moved. And behind them, the Shilla Hotel burned against the Seoul skyline. Private hospital, private floor, private everything. Simone sat in a plastic chair that cost more than any plastic chair had a right to cost, and watched surgeons work on the man she loved through a window that separated her from his operating room. 3 hours had passed. Or 4. Maybe 5. Time had stopped meaning anything. Jae-won appeared with coffee she didn't want, but took anyway. The bombing was targeted. His voice was flat. Professional. 2 devices, military grade. Specifically placed to maximize chaos near our position. Someone tried to kill him. Someone tried to kill both of you. The coffee burned her tongue. She didn't care. Yoon? We're working on confirmation, but yes, almost certainly. Why now? Why at a public event? Because he knew Dae-jung would bring you? Jae-won's expression was unreadable. You make him predictable. You make him vulnerable. The words hit harder than any explosion. So this is my fault. That's not what I said. It's what you meant. Silence. Jae-won sat down beside her. I've worked for the Kang family for 23 years. I watched Dae-jung's father build an empire. I watched Dae-jung take it over after the stroke. I've seen him make decisions that kept thousands of people alive, and others that ended lives that deserved ending. He paused. I've never seen him love anyone. Not like this. Simone's eyes burned. What's your point? My point is that you don't make him weak. You make him human. He stood. And human beings fight harder when they have something to lose. He walked away. Simone stared at the operating room window and prayed to every god she knew and some she didn't. He woke at dawn. She was there, holding his hand, head resting on the edge of his hospital bed, asleep, sitting up. You look terrible. His voice was wrecked, barely a whisper. She jerked awake. You almost died. Wouldn't be the first time. Don't. Her voice cracked. Don't make jokes. Not about this. He reached out, his hand trembling, touched her face. I'm sorry. For what? Getting bombed? For bringing you into this. He coughed, winced. For making you a target. You didn't make me anything. She grabbed his hand, held it against her cheek. I chose this. I chose you. You should have chosen better. There is no better. The tears came now. She couldn't stop them. Don't you understand? There's just you. It's always been just you. Since the moment you answered that stupid wrong number. He was crying too. She'd never seen him cry. It was the most human he'd ever looked. Simone. What? Marry me. The words fell between them. His eyes went wide, like he'd surprised himself. That's not. I didn't mean to. The medication must be... Yes. He stopped. What? Yes. She laughed through her tears. I'll marry you. I'll marry you in this hospital room with you bleeding from your head and machines beeping everywhere. I'll marry you tomorrow or next year or whenever you want, because I don't care about timing or logic or any of the 1,000 reasons this is insane. Simone, ask me again. His voice broke. Marry me. Not because it's safe, not because it's smart, because I can't imagine tomorrow without you in it. She looked at this man, scarred and broken and beautiful, Hers. Yes. She kissed him. Gentle because of the tubes and monitors and everything else keeping him alive. Yes. Yes. 1,000 times, yes. He smiled, and for a moment, despite the bombs and the threats and the war coming for them, everything was perfect. Then Jae-won knocked on the door. His face was grim. Sir, we have a problem. He just proposed in a hospital bed. Her answer will change everything. If you're not subscribed, you'll never know what happens next. And you'll regret it. Subscribe now. The problem had a name. Yoon Sung-ho. He was on every news channel, standing in front of cameras, expressing his deep concern about the terrorist attack at the Shilla, offering condolences to the victims, calling for increased security, playing the statesman while his hands were still wet with blood. He's going to get away with it. Simone stared at the hospital room's television. He tried to kill us, and he's going to get away with it. Not if I have anything to say about it. Dae-jung was sitting up now, against doctor's orders, against Simone's orders, against everyone's orders except his own. You can barely walk. Then I'll crawl. That's not... Jae-won. Dae-jung cut her off. The files. Tell me we have them. We have them. Jae-won pulled out a tablet. 3 years of surveillance, financial records, communication intercepts. Enough to bury him 10 times over. Then we bury him. It's not that simple. He has protection. Government officials, police commanders, judges. Then we go over them. The National Intelligence Service has been looking for a reason to move against Yoon for a decade. We give them one. Sir, that would mean exposing our own operations, our own vulnerabilities. Dae-jung's jaw tightened. I know what it means. Silence. Simone looked between them. What does it mean? Dae-jung met her eyes. It means burning down everything I've built. Going legitimate. Truly legitimate. No more gray areas. No more plausible deniability. You'd do that. For you. He reached for her hand. I'd do anything. Jae-won cleared his throat. There's something else. What? The attack at the Shilla. It wasn't just meant to kill you. He pulled up something on his tablet. Our tech team traced the source of those disappearing messages to Ms. Achebe's phone. They were setting up a framework, digital evidence, making it look like she was the one feeding information to Yoon's people. Simone's stomach dropped. They were framing me? If the attack had succeeded, if both of you had died, the narrative would have been clear. American woman seduces crime boss, feeds information to his enemies, gets them both killed. But we didn't die. No, which means they'll try something else. Dae-jung's expression hardened. Then we move first. He looked at Jae-won. Set up the meeting. National Intelligence Service. Tomorrow. Sir, you're not in any condition. Tomorrow. Jae-won nodded, left the room. Simone sank into the chair beside Dae-jung's bed. This is really happening. This is really happening. He pulled her close as the medical equipment would allow. But when it's over, when he's gone, we start fresh, clean. You can do that? Just walk away from everything? I can do anything. He kissed her forehead. With you beside me. She wanted to believe him. She did believe him. But somewhere in the back of her mind, a voice whispered that some wars don't end with treaties. Some wars only end when one side stops breathing. She just didn't know yet which side that would be. She's about to become a target. The next 60 seconds will determine if she lives or dies. Still haven't subscribed? Then you'll never know how she survives. Your choice. The National Intelligence Service headquarters looked like every other government building in Seoul. Gray concrete, tinted windows, the careful anonymity of bureaucracy hiding teeth. Dae-jung walked through the front doors like he owned the place, which, technically, he might have. Some of the contractors who built it probably owed him money. Simone stayed in the car. Jaewon's orders. Daijung's orders. Everyone's orders. She was getting tired of orders. But she understood the logic. The NIS building was neutral ground for some people. For a foreign civilian associated with a crime syndicate, it was a minefield. 3 hours passed. 4. 5. The sun moved across the Seoul sky. Morning became afternoon. Afternoon started sliding toward evening. Simone's phone buzzed. Daejung's number. It's done. Done how? They're moving tonight. Simultaneous raids. Yoon's properties. His businesses. His allies. A pause. It's over. Almost. Almost? I need to be there. When they take him, I need to see his face. Is that safe? Nothing about this has been safe. His voice softened, but after tonight, it will be. I promise. Don't make promises you might not keep. I haven't yet. True. Terrifyingly true. Come back to me. Always. He hung up. Simone stared at the phone. Jaewon appeared at the car window. We're moving to a secure location. Mr. Kang's orders. Where? The mountain house, until this is finished. The mountain house, where they'd had their first real dinner, where she'd stayed the night in his guest room that had somehow become their room, where he'd first talked about forever. It felt like a lifetime ago. It had been less than 6 weeks. Let's go. The drive took an hour, longer than usual. Jaewon took a circuitous route, checking for tails, doubling back twice. Professional paranoia at its finest. By the time they reached the house, the sun was setting. Orange light spilled across the mountains. Seoul glittered in the distance. The same view she'd fallen in love with that first night. The same view she'd hoped to see for the rest of her life. Ma'am? One of the security team approached as she stepped out of the car. Young, professional, a face she didn't recognize. There's been a change in plans. Mr. Kang wants you inside the safe room until further notice. Safe room? This way. She followed. Into the house, down a hallway she hadn't explored before. Through a door that looked like a closet but opened into something much more serious. Reinforced steel. Monitors showing feeds from cameras around the property. Supplies for a week. Maybe more. Wait here. Don't open this door for anyone except Mr. Kang or Jaewon. The code to unlock from inside is your birthday. Month, day, year. He knew her birthday. Of course he did. How long? A few hours, maybe less. The guard started to close the door, paused. He asked me to tell you something. What? He said, I'm coming back, because you're worth coming back to. The door sealed shut. Simone sank onto the small cot in the corner of the safe room, and waited. An hour passed. 2. She watched the monitors, saw nothing but empty grounds and quiet darkness. 3 hours. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Her blood chilled. She almost didn't answer. But what if it was him? What if something had happened? She accepted the call. Hello, Ms. Achebe. Chairman Yoon's voice slithered through the speaker. Enjoying your cage? Her heart stopped. How did you get this number? The same way I got everything else. Money, patience, determination. A soft laugh. Did you really think a safe room would protect you? Did you really think any of this would end the way you hoped? The NIS has your files. Your properties are being raided as we speak. Yes, unfortunate, but not unexpected. His voice hardened. Your lover thinks he's won. He thinks destroying my empire means destroying me. But empires can be rebuilt, Ms. Achebe. What can't be rebuilt is the human heart. What does that mean? It means I've already taken something far more precious than property. The line went dead. Simone stared at the phone. Something far more precious. What did that? The monitors flickered. Every screen, every feed, all at once. Then they showed something new. A room she didn't recognize. Clinical. Cold. Medical equipment everywhere. And in the center, strapped to a hospital bed, struggling against restraints. Dae-jung. Simone screamed. She didn't remember unlocking the safe room door. Didn't remember running through the house. Didn't remember anything except the blind panic driving her forward. Jae-won caught her in the main hallway. Ma'am, stop! They have him! Yoon has him! I saw it on the monitors! Jae-won's face went pale. That's not possible. He was with the NIS team. Protected. Look! She dragged him toward the safe room, toward the monitors. But when they got there, the screens showed only static. It was there. He was there. Tied to a bed. I saw it. Jae-won pulled out his phone. Dialed. Waited. No answer. Dialed again. No answer. His expression shifted. Professional control giving way to something that looked a lot like fear. Everyone. He spoke into a radio on his collar. Protocol Black, I repeat, Protocol Black. Confirm location of King. Silence. Static. Then a voice she didn't recognize. King is down. Repeat. King is down. Unknown hostiles. We're pinned at... The transmission cut off. Jae-won grabbed her arm. We need to go. Now. Go where? Away from here. This location is compromised. I'm not leaving without him. Ma'am. I said I'm not leaving without him. He would want you safe, and I want him alive. They stared at each other. Impasse. Impossible choices. Simone's phone buzzed again. Unknown number. The address arrived 3 minutes later. A warehouse in Mapo-gu. The same district where Dae-jung had been conducting business the night she'd texted him by accident. Poetic. Terrible. Inevitable. Simone made her choice. She'd made it, really, the moment she'd sent that wrong number text. She just hadn't known it yet. Tell Dae-jung I love him. She took Jae-won's gun from his holster before he could react. And tell him I finally understood. Understood what? She was already walking toward the door. What it means to come when someone calls. She just became a target. The next 60 seconds will determine if she lives or dies. Still haven't subscribed? Then you'll never know how she survives. Your choice. The warehouse was exactly what she'd expected. Rust. Shadows. The smell of old blood and older secrets. Simone walked through the front entrance with Jae-won's gun hidden at the small of her back, and her heart pounding so hard she could feel it in her teeth. Yoon was waiting. He stood in the center of the concrete floor, surrounded by men with guns and faces that had never known mercy. Behind him, half hidden by industrial shelving, she could see Dae-jung. Alive, bloody, beaten, bound to a chair with his head hanging forward, but alive. You came. Yoon sounded genuinely surprised. I didn't think you would. Then you don't know me. I know enough. He gestured to his men. Search her. They took the gun. Of course they did. Simone had known they would. The gun was never the plan. The plan was something else entirely. Now. Yoon circled her slowly, predator assessing prey. Let's discuss the terms of surrender. Whose surrender? Mine or yours? He laughed. You have spirit. I understand the attraction now. He stopped in front of her. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to call your security. Tell them to stand down. Then you're going to make a statement. On camera. Confessing to your role in the bombing at the Shilla. I had no role in the bombing. Irrelevant. The confession is what matters. His smile widened. Once we have that, you and your lover will be released. Free to rebuild your lives. Far from Seoul. Far from me. And if I refuse, then this room becomes very unpleasant. For him. Yoon glanced at Dae-jung. He's already had a difficult evening. I'd hate to make it worse. Simone looked at the man she loved. Broken, but breathing. She looked at the man who had done this. Powerful, but predictable. Can I see him first, before I decide? Yoon considered. I don't see why not. A final goodbye adds poetry. doesn't it? He waved his hand. She was allowed to approach. Simone knelt in front of Dae-jung's chair. His face was a mess. Cuts and bruises distorting features she'd memorized over weeks of falling. Hey, she touched his cheek. Gentle. I'm here. His eyes opened, struggled to focus. No. The word was slurred, desperate. Run, Simone, run. I'm not running. She leaned closer, whispered so quietly that only he could hear. Jaewon gave me something. When I took the gun. Something small. Something with a tracking signal. His eyes widened. In my bra. The cavalry's coming. I just need to buy time. Understanding flooded his battered face. Then something else. Fear. How long? 20 minutes, maybe less. Yoon won't wait that long. Then I'll make him wait. She stood. Turned to face the monster. I have questions. Yoon raised an eyebrow. Questions? Before I confess. Before I end my life as I know it. She stepped toward him. I want to understand. Why? Why all of this? Why destroy so many lives over business? It was never about business. Yoon's composure cracked. Just slightly. It was about legacy. About justice. Justice for what? Your lover's father killed my son. The words landed like bombs. Simone didn't react. Couldn't afford to. In 1994, during the Unification Wars, my boy was 17. He wanted nothing to do with this life. He was going to be a doctor. Yoon's voice trembled. Kang Sr. made an example of him. Left his body in the street like garbage. I'm sorry. Don't. The word was sharp. Don't you dare feel sorry for me. Not you. Not the woman who warmed that family's bed. Dae-jung isn't his father. He's his legacy. He's the future of everything that destroyed my past. Yoon's control was slipping. And now I'll take his future. The way his father took mine. Simone understood now. This wasn't about power or territory or money. This was about grief, rage, decades of pain festering into poison. She almost felt sorry for him. Almost. You could have walked away. She took another step toward him. You could have taken your empire and your money and disappeared. Started over somewhere that doesn't smell like old blood. And let them win? There's no winning here. She was close enough now to see the broken capillaries in his eyes. The tremor in his hands that he tried so hard to hide. There's just loss. Different kinds of loss. Yours. His. Ours. Then we'll all lose together. He raised his hand. His men raised their guns. Time slowed. Simone thought about her mother in Chicago. About Naomi, who would never forgive her for this. About the life she'd wanted, and the life she'd gotten, and the strange, terrible, beautiful journey from one to the other. She thought about Dae-jung, about wrong numbers and right choices, about love that didn't make sense and didn't have to. The first gunshot came from outside, then another, then a wall of sound that swallowed everything else. The cavalry had arrived. Chaos erupted. Yoon's men scattered. Some toward the sound. Some toward exits that were no longer exits. Some toward her. Simone dropped to the ground, crawled toward Dae-jung, fumbled with his restraints while bullets and screams filled the air. Come on! Her hands were shaking, slick with sweat. Come on, come on, come on! The ropes gave. He slumped forward. She caught him. Can you walk? With you? He smiled through the blood. I can fly. They moved, stumbling, supporting each other, toward the back of the warehouse where memory told her there was a loading dock, an exit, a chance. Behind them, Yoon screamed orders. Ahead of them, Jaewon appeared like an angel made of tactical gear and righteous fury. This way, quickly. They followed, out into the soul night, into waiting vehicles, into safety that tasted like survival and smelled like gunpowder. The last thing Simone saw before the car door closed was Chairman Yoon being dragged from the warehouse in handcuffs, His silver hair wild, his expensive suit torn, his face twisted in something beyond rage. Loss, the kind that consumed everything it touched. She almost felt sorry for him. Almost. Dae-jung's hand found hers, squeezed. You came. His voice was barely a whisper. You answered when I called. She squeezed back. I figured I owed you one. He laughed. It hurt him. She could tell. He laughed anyway. And somewhere in that broken, beautiful sound, Simone knew they were going to be okay. Battered, changed, forever carrying the scars of this night. But okay. Together. He just proposed in a hospital bed. Her answer will change everything. If you're not subscribed, you'll never know what happens next, and you'll regret it. Subscribe now. 1 year later. The wedding was nothing like either of them expected. Not the massive Korean production that tradition demanded. Not the Chicago extravaganza that Simone's mother had dreamed about since her daughter was born. Something smaller, simpler, perfect. The ceremony took place at the mountain house. The one where they'd had their first dinner. Where she'd stayed in his guest room and listened to his heartbeat and felt safe for the first time in 18 months. Where home had started to mean something other than geography. 50 guests, family and chosen family, and the strange collection of humans who had become their people over the past year. Grandmother Yoon sat in the front row, crying already, muttering in Korean about grandchildren and proper nutrition, and how long she'd waited for this foolish boy to find sense. Dae-jung's sister, Yoona, stood as his witness, healed, slowly. Still carrying shadows in her eyes, but learning, finally, to let light in too. She'd met Simone 3 months ago and spent the entire visit testing her with questions and silences, and the particular scrutiny of someone protecting the person they loved most. By the end, she'd hugged Simone, said, "Welcome to the family," said, "Thank you for saving my brother," said, "I know what it costs to survive, and you have survivor's eyes." Naomi was there, of course, maid of honor, still convinced her baby sister had lost her mind, still showing up anyway, still carrying their father's shotgun in her luggage, just in case, because some traditions transcended international law. Their mother sat beside her, dabbing her eyes, overwhelmed by the strangeness of it all, but too proud of her daughter to complain. Much. The officiant was a judge, one of the few in Seoul who hadn't been on Yoon's payroll. He owed Dae-jung nothing, which made his willingness to perform the ceremony mean something. Fresh starts required fresh foundations. Simone wore white, a fusion dress. Korean hanbok silhouette married to Nigerian embroidery, honoring both parts of who she was. Dae-jung wore black, because some things didn't change. The scar on his eyebrow was visible. He'd stopped hiding it months ago. Said it was part of him now. Said he was tired of pretending to be less complicated than he was. The vows weren't traditional. They'd written their own. "I promise," Simone said, "to always answer your calls, even the wrong ones." "I promise," Dae-jung replied, "to always come when you need me, even when it takes longer than 15 minutes. Laughter from the crowd, tears from both of them. "I promise to learn Korean, properly this time. I promise to eat your jollof rice even when you burn it. I promise to be patient with your grandmother's interrogations. I promise to be patient with your mother's concerns about my background check." More laughter, more tears. "I promise," Simone said, her voice breaking, "to build a life with you, whatever that looks like, wherever it takes us, however hard it gets." "I promise," Dae-jung replied, "to be worth that choice. Every day, for the rest of my life." They kissed. The crowd cheered. Somewhere in the mountains above Seoul, two people who had found each other through accident and fear became one future. The reception was chaos. Good chaos. Tteokbokki on the menu. Grandmother Yoon's recipe. Served alongside jollof rice that Simone's mother had supervised personally to ensure it wasn't burned. Music, dancing, speeches that made everyone cry and laugh in equal measure. Jae-won gave a toast that somehow managed to be both professionally reserved and emotionally devastating. "I've worked for this family for 24 years, he said. "I've seen triumph and tragedy, victory and loss. But I've never seen anything like what I've witnessed this year." He raised his glass to Simone, who answered a wrong number and saved us all. Glasses raised, tears fell. The party continued until midnight, then longer, then until the sun started threatening the horizon with pink and gold. Finally, they were alone. Standing on the balcony of their room, the city glittering below, the future stretching ahead. "So," Simone said, "we did it. We did it. Now what?" He turned to face her. "Now we live, properly, without looking over our shoulders. Can you do that? Just live?" "I'm going to try." He pulled her close. "The syndicate is being restructured, legitimate businesses only. It'll take years, but we have years. We do." He smiled, the real smile. The one she'd learned was reserved only for her. "How does that feel, having years with me?" "Terrifying," she kissed him. "And perfect." They stayed on the balcony until the sun was fully up, watching their city wake, watching their future begin. Simone's phone buzzed. She looked at the screen. Unknown number. Her heart stuttered. Then she read the message. "My boyfriend won't stop proposing. I'm scared. Wrong person to text." She laughed. Showed Dae-jung. He laughed too. "What are you going to tell her?" Simone considered, then typed her response. "Wrong number. But let me tell you something. Sometimes wrong numbers are exactly right. Take the chance. You never know what walks through the door." She hit send, put down the phone, looked at her husband. "What are you thinking?" he asked. "That I'm grateful for typos. The universe has a sense of humor. Or very good aim." He kissed her. She kissed him back. And outside the window, Seoul sparkled. 10 million lives continuing their own stories. One story ending and beginning all at once. The wrong number that became the right call. The accident that became destiny. The love that shouldn't have happened but did anyway. Some calls change everything. Some mistakes become miracles. And sometimes, just sometimes, the person you need most in the world is the person you never meant to find. They made it, against all odds. A wrong number became forever. If this story made you believe in fate, comment, write call below. Share it with someone who needs to believe in miracles today. And subscribe. Turn on notifications. Because the next story might be the one that changes your life too. We bring you stories that inspire. Stories that remind you that love finds a way. That courage matters. That wrong turns sometimes lead exactly where you're supposed to be. Thank you for watching. Thank you for believing. Thank you for being part of this journey. Until next time, stay blessed, stay hopeful, and always answer when life calls, even if it seems like the wrong number, especially then.